What's going on, Show Nation? It's Movie with Movie Gaming TV, and in today's video, I kind of wanted to tell you guys about some of my favorite cards in MLB The Show 20 right now. A lot of people will ask me questions like, should I pick this guy over this guy? So I thought I'd make this video to kind of go through my team and explain why I have my team built the way that I do. My team isn't necessarily perfect, but I actually really like my team a lot. We're still going to get a lot more content to come into the game, but even at this point in the game's lifespan, I actually really like this team a lot. So I'm going to go through position by position and explain why I have the guys that I have. First off, in the leadoff spot, we have Craig Biggio. I really like Prestige Craig Biggio a lot. It's actually one of my favorite cards we've ever had in Diamond Dynasty. The 109, 110 on the contact. He has the 82, 83 on the power versus right and the power versus left. So he does have some decent amount. He does have a decent amount of pop. I actually like his swing quite a bit. Once you get him prestiged, he has the 93 speed, he has the 91 fielding, and the 90 reaction. So at second base, he's a pretty good defender. He can take away a lot of plays. He's fast, he has good reaction, and he has good fielding. Fielding and reaction, they go together, and then they also, the more speed you have, it helps out too. So he's actually one of my favorite cards I have. He's a great leadoff hitter because he has great speed. So if you pitch around him, he's going to do damage on the base paths. And he's just, he'll occasionally hit some home runs. He can hit to the gap. He can also just he has good contact to just kind of get blue base hits. He's just like a perfect leadoff hitter, in my opinion. I love the Craig Biggio card. I may even be higher on this card than other people, but it's one of the main reasons that you want to do the collections is to get this card. Now, not everybody on the comp scene starts him. I'm just personally a big fan of this card. I really like this card. He gives you positional depth. He can play in left field. He could even play in center field. He can play catcher, which is a very popular place for people to put him because you get a 93 overall speed catcher. I actually like him the most at second base for right now. As I'm making this video, I just like having him at second base. The next card is Mickey Mantle. I bat him in the second spot of my order. It's kind of like the new wave of putting your best hitter in the second spot in the order. Gets him a few more at bats. When the lineup turns over, he has that opportunity to drive in runs from that side of things. If Biggio gets on, now Mantle has somebody to drive on as well. The Prestige Mickey Mantle card is my favorite card in the game. Also, that's a question that I get asked a lot. Who's your favorite card in the game? And it is the Prestige Mickey Mantle. If you guys have the regular Mickey Mantle, just wait until you get him Prestige, because I felt like there was a big jump in this card between the regular one and the Prestige one. The Prestige one has the 90 fielding. He's got the 97 arm, and his speed jumps all the way up to a 95. He absolutely is a force on defense, taking away hits in the gap, helps out your left fielder and your right fielder tremendously. 90 fielding, so diamond fielding with 91 reaction, 95 speed. He covers a lot of ground, has a cannon too, a 97 arm with 94 arm accuracy. The hitting, 113, 125, 122, 105 with 94 vision. Definitely gets it done. The fact that he's a switch hitter is extremely nice too. The 125, 105, he's still got pop versus lefties. Every time I see him, when I face him, I always try to bring in a lefty to face him because that 113, 122 is absolutely dominant. Has a good quick swing as well. Just kind of like a compact old timer swing, but it's a good swing. And also can play in left field and right field down the line. I don't really see any need to take him out of center field down the line. And it also should be said too is when they do the collection reward, they always put the top card. It's supposed to be like a top card. There's not supposed to be another card that's 5 tool to the degree that this card is, to kind of keep that collection reward as the best card in the game. So I don't really see any card surpassing this card. This is actually one of the best cards we've ever had in the history of Diamond Dynasty. He just brings everything to the table that you'd want in a Diamond Dynasty player, especially a center fielder. He's got speed, he's got an arm, he's got power, he's got contact. He's got switch hitting. It's just like a dream come true for a Diamond Dynasty player. It's why it's so important to get the collections done, because you want to get the bona fide best card in the game, in my opinion. And that year, or this year, is going to be Mickey Mantle. So, you know, you get Craig out of it, you get Mickey Mantle out of it. We'll also talk about Gary Sheffield later on. The next player I have is my creative player. He is a balanced shortstop. He has like over 100 in contact and power from both sides. He's a switch hitter. I used Chipper Jones 2008 for my swing on him. He's kind of, the Chipper Jones 2008 has that slide step swing. If you played back a couple years, it's very similar to the Corey Seager type of swing. It's like a two-handed swing that has that kind of like stride that's really nice. It's a very quick swing. Has a lot of pop. His fielding, he has, I know it doesn't show it here, but because it doesn't add up the stats of the equipment. If you ever want to see the stats of the equipment, just go into a game, go to your creative player, hit triangle to see the stats on him. And he has he has diamond fielding. He has a really good arm too, probably like 95 type of arm strength. Good arm accuracy, good reaction. His speed is up to an 84 with the equipment. I'll show you guys my equipment that I have real quick here. This is, to me, the best equipment to use. There hasn't really been too much new equipment, so I haven't had to deviate from that. I guess I could tell you more about, I made him kind of tall and skinny. He's like 6'3", 170 or 167. He just feels very fluid out there when I'm using him. You can make him whatever you feel comfortable with. If you like to go with more of a funky design or what have you. The bat I use is this Mike Trout bat, the old Hickory. I just like having extra power. I believe there's a bat that we get like this. You probably have this bat for free, even from maybe the 5th inning or the 6th inning program. So that's actually a really, really good free bat. That's about as good as you're gonna get for a free bat. +8, +6. I go with +9, +5. I probably could sell this bat, honestly, and just use that 8 and 6 and just be just fine, but I'm using that one for now. The batting gloves I use, +4, +6 to power. It's really all about power and plate vision to me. That's kind of what I go for. And contact, got some contact there. The fielding glove, I use this glove that gets him up to diamond fielding because he has a +12 with the fielding. These cleats, I just like the Griffey cleats. They have like a lot of reaction, I want to say, compared to some of the other ones. They're a little bit cheaper too. I just got this mask though today, and I got the chest protector. This is like it gives you the most blocking. This chest protector gives you I believe they're all like, I think it's +4, so it gives you the most, and then I think all these are the same. No, this is actually +3 as well. So I do have that because I'm thinking about making a catcher here soon, depending on what shortstops that we get, depending on what catchers we get. So I like to have multiple creative players grinded to 89, so I kind of have more lineup flexibility. Right now, I just have the pitchers and the shortstop, but I also am going to work on a second baseman and a catcher. Just who knows what we're going to see down the line as far as cards are. These, I don't really worry about upgrading these. You guys, I don't even have a wrist guard equipped because I'm not too worried about discipline or durability in Diamond Dynasty. Just picked up this sleeve today. The gold sleeve works just fine, but I wanted to get a little bit more arm strength. So, I mean, it's an expensive upgrade. It's like 12,000 stubs to get it upgraded to this arm sleeve. Jackie Robinson bat grip, you can get that from the Jackie Robinson program. Extremely worth it. I go with these glasses just because they give me the most plate vision and reaction. And I go with these socks from the Jackie Robinson program. And I also go with Legendary Call +8 to power and +8 to contact. So that's what I have on my guy. So I'm thinking about making him into a catcher. I don't know if I'm going to make balanced or power yet. I might make power. I have to go through and I have to do all the math on what everything would be added up to see which of these were better. Another thing to explain also is I think a lot of people get confused. Like, you have this pack. These are actually two separate cards. There's the 85 card and then there's the 89 card. They don't stack together. You just get two separate versions. Like, there's an 85, whatever you want the 85 to be. If you want a power or a contact, it doesn't matter. And then once you get to this, everything's cleared out once you get to this. So it's just like you're picking that final card. The power has 90 power, so he's going to be stacked in power by the end of it. Might have some massive power. I just don't really like that he only has 70 fielding and 70 block. I'm not sure how high I could get that. Let me know if you guys in the comment section have made a catcher and if you made power or contact. I don't think I'm going to make a contact one because I really want some power out of this position, even though he would have really good defense, be pretty fast. I just don't know what his speed, or I don't want him to have like really low power. I want him to be somebody that I can count on for home runs. The balance, I might go with the balance. I made a balanced catcher last year that I really liked. I think it's probably what I would go with again. Possibly. I just might do the math, but it's going to come down to either, I'll definitely do the math. It's going to come down to either balance or I'm going to go with the power. But it looks like he has some pretty good base fielding where I could get his arm strength really high, his blocking really high, and his fielding really high, and still have maybe enough power. Let's see, 74-70. Let's see what the shortstop has, the balanced shortstop, and see maybe if it'll be around that 100-ish. Let's see, balanced, focused. So the balanced shortstop actually has a lot more power. So I might end up going with the power, but we'll have to see. So see, it's 76 fielding. Maybe he'll get gold fielding. I'm not sure. I really like having the blocking for my catcher. Let me put it that way. All right, in the 4th spot, we have, in my opinion, the best first baseman in the game. I just picked him up. 76, 112, 115, 121. Eric Thames. The fielding's at 64. He does have 53 speed, which is pretty nice too. He's got a really good swing. It kind of reminds me of like Ben Zobrist's swing a little bit. And Ben Zobrist is also one of the best players in the game. And what I want to say about this card is, like, you got like Bellinger, who's great, but he just has like a smaller PCI. Really good card, but it's kind of like I have to bat him low in the order. He has great defense at first. He'll make some plays at first for you, but how many of those plays do you really need compared to just having this bona fide hitter at the plate? The reverse splits are great also because Ortiz and Tommy, the other two guys I really like probably to play at first base right now, they just aren't that good compared. They aren't that good versus lefties, and this card's insane versus lefties. Like 112, 121's insane, and he still has 96, 115, only 73 vision, but it doesn't feel like his PCI is that small. And he just absolutely mashes. He's got a great swing. So I really like this Eric Thames card. Gonna hit cleanup, just does a lot of damage. Eric Thames is one of those players that when you're facing him on the other team, he is scary in the box. It reminds me a lot of Frank Thomas, like when last year when you're just nervous as all heck to pitch to Frank Thomas. That's the same feeling I get when Eric Thames is in the box and I'm facing him. It's like, oh my God, he's going to hit a home run, so I get nervous about him. At third base, I have it kind of also, I should say, it almost makes him like a switch hitter because he's got those reverse splits. This is a very good card. This is the first card you should take out of your Prestige XP reward path. I took him second, but knowing what I know now, I really wish I would have taken him first, so I recommend that you take him first because he's just he will absolutely start on your team for a while. I think he's a really good player. We got Chipper Jones at third base. I hit him 5th in the order. I've tried out a lot of different third basemen. I like George Brett a lot. I think he's got a good quick swing. That's pretty solid. I've tried out Mike Schmidt over at third base as well. I didn't find Mike Schmidt's defense to really matter that much. It's weird, man. Like, yeah, could a ball get by Chipper? Yeah, kind of. But Chipper actually makes some good plays, especially once you get him prestige and get him up to the 70 fielding, the 74 arm. Pretty much holds it down. He's got a great swing. He's got like a nice toe tap with his swing. He's a switch hitter, which is a huge advantage in Diamond Dynasty. The 91-91 versus right isn't that great, but it's not that bad either. Just because he's got such a good swing. It's not fantastic. I'm not going to lie. It's not that great all the time versus right. But versus left, absolute problem. 108, 117, that's an absolute problem. Has 67 speed as well. So I just really like having this card. I like having switch hitters in my lineup. is very, very helpful. You never get into those left-on-left situations, which can be tricky. Right-on-right isn't as bad, but left-on-left can be tricky. And, kind of just... we avoid that situation. He's got a great swing. I really like him. This is who I would definitely get at third base. To me, he's the best third baseman, even at 96 overall. In right field, we have Larry Walker. He is a 99. I got him at Prestige also. Larry Walker is one of the best cards we've had in Diamond Dynasty. This is like a great, great card. I kind of compare him to like a Tony Gwynn, but if Tony Gwynn had power. He's got a great open stance. He has 125, 113 versus righties. That's a problem for right-handed pitchers. Has 99 vision, has a big PCI, 120, 96, not too bad against lefties. Has that open stance, so he's not too bad at hitting against left-handed pitching. Then he has 95 fielding with a 95 arm. Only 86 reaction, but he does have 81 speed. He gets the balls in the outfield. He doesn't make errors. He has a cannon. So he's got defense on lock. He's got hitting on lock. This is a great card. This is one of the better cards we've ever had. 100% worth prestiging him as well. You got to lock him in. Same with Chipper. Chipper's only like $35K to lock in or what have you. Definitely locking in Larry Walker, no doubt about it. It took me like 1 second to think that I want this guy on my team. I like guys that have the 5 tools like we all do. And he's got great hitting, great fielding, and he's got 81 speed. I don't like slow outfielders whatsoever. An 81 speed is solid. Like I want you to be like 75-ish plus in the outfield so you can cover in the gap. Luckily, Mickey can pick up for a lot of that with his speed, but he's really nice. Now, catcher, I'm thinking about replacing Buster Posey, even though I really actually like Buster Posey a lot. The Prestige Buster Posey, 106, 125, 76, 115, 96 vision. His swing is kind of that open stance. It kind of reminds me of Craig Biggio's stance. Like, if you really think about it, it's pretty similar to that. He always seems to come up with big hits for me. The one thing I really just don't like about him right now is when we have to face a right-handed pitcher, he doesn't do a ton of damage with the 106, 76. It's not bad. It's not like horrible. I can definitely hit home runs versus right-handed pitching. But the thing is, it just feels like this is one area where, if we're talking like in-game cards, I'd like for it to improve and maybe move him to the bench or something like that to pinch hit versus lefties, and possibly be a first base type of option with some of his fielding. He only has 43 speed as well, and I really don't like slow players just because when you have that runner on first base, it just seems like, you hit a ball on the ground, they're going to be rolling into double plays a lot, which I don't really like at all. Double plays really kill your momentum in Diamond Dynasty, so that's something I don't like. But I love that 125, 115 versus left. That's amazing. And I love his diamond fielding. I like having a good fielding catcher. It's not extremely important if they've got really good hitting, kind of like your first base or third base. But that 98 block is legit. The 98 block really, really, really helps out because the 98 block, you got first and second. You're trying to throw a curveball on 0-2. And now when Craig's back there, even with gold fielding, now he boots it or it gets by him. Now they got second and third, and they're pretty much probably going to get a run just because we had to throw a waste pitch and we lost that double play opportunity. Same with the guys on first base too, or drop third strikes. I love his 98 block. I'm a big fan of that. And that's why I was thinking, I got to make sure if I make this creative player that's a power catcher, I got to make sure that he's got a lot of blocking. I really personally like the blocking. In years past, it didn't matter as much. I feel like this year it does matter a lot more. They got that right this year. I could be wrong about that, but that's kind of like my own experience and what I felt like with the game. So, again, I like Buster Posey. He seems to come up with clutch hits for me. But I would say out of everybody on my team, he's definitely in that replaceable category down the line. But for right now, he's not too bad. So I do like him. The left field, we have the future stars, Dylan Carlson. He is a solid card that plays above his numbers. Extremely popular card on the top end of Diamond Dynasty and competitive Diamond Dynasty. Lots of people use this card. You might not see him as much in the lower ranks, but you will see him You start getting up to the 900s, 1000s. I think it was pretty much popularized by Pitching Rebel. A lot of people picked him up, and he's got a lot of stuff going for him. First of all, he's got a very good glitchy type of swing, and what I mean by that, it's a short, compact swing that's very quick. You need a quick swing when you start getting those pitch speeds up. You need that quick swing. You don't need a longer swing. That's kind of one of the problems with another card we'll talk about in a second. But he goes 102, 94, 89, 95. Pretty balanced across the board in that regard. Has pop from both sides. And he also has good contact from both sides. Has 84 vision. Never going to have to hit left on left with them. Only has 82 arm strength, but he does have diamond fielding in left. So it will give our entire outfield diamond fielding, which is important. You want good fielding in the outfield. It makes it really hard to hit when, you know, the other team has like really good fielding in the outfield. Only 76 speed. I feel like he's really good. He's shot up in price. He's about 80K right now. He's pretty damn good though. He'll probably get replaced down the line, but for right now, he's a solid player. I like having him in the A spot in the lineup too, because he's really good at just putting the bat on the ball with his swing and a little bit of speed, a little bit of like unknown. Not every single player knows how good this card is that I'm facing, so they might throw him some good pitches. He does a good job of just like, you know, there's 2 outs. We need a base hit to roll it over to the pitcher. You know, so we get that pitcher at bat out of the way and we don't have to lead up the next hitting, the next inning at the start of the inning with the pitcher. So he does a good job of that. Has some occasional pop as well. On my bench, I have Prestige Reggie Jackson, 113, 118. He's going to be our pinch hitter versus right-handed pitching. I mean, that's just a ton of power for Reggie. He has a little bit of speed at 74 speed, 71 ceiling. If we ever had a pinch run, you know, deep into a game, for some reason, he could do that if we needed him to do that. So that's, you know, that's a little, it's not a huge thing, but it's something that he brings to the table. And the bench guys, I'm looking for stacked hitting and I'm looking for speed. That's what I'm really looking for them to bring to the table. I also have David Ortiz on my bench, 103, 105, 124, good swing, 83 vision. No fielding or speed really to be spoken for, but he has a good swing. It's going to be scary for any right-handed pitcher when they come into the game. I have Jim Thome as well. I could probably play Jim Thome over Reggie Jackson, 119, 125. He's just kind of chilling. I'm not sure. I might sell him. I might keep him. I don't know. A little bit more speed. Lower vision. Vision doesn't matter as much. You want to have high contact. But vision does help open up the timing window as well. So it's a little bit lower. He's got a really good swing. I'd recommend picking him up for your bench, or you could even start him at first base if you really wanted to. This is kind of a newer thing I've done with my bench. I do have Ricky Henderson just because of the 99 speed, the 99 ceiling. That's pretty much the only reason. Eventually, as we go through this, I mean, Eric Davis would be good in this spot. I don't have Eric Davis right now because I think it's a little bit overkill. It's most likely this guy isn't going to play. But I do like to have a pinch runner, just in case we get into a, you know, maybe we're playing at like a big field and we're kind of scraping across runs and it's like 4-3 and I need this guy to run late in the game. I've got him. I've got a 99 speed type of guy. Usually don't go through all my pinch hitters, and my pitchers can do a decent job of getting through like 5 or 6. But that's what I have on my bench. It's not really set in stone for him to be there. Gary Sheffield. I mean, you could make the argument that Gary Sheffield could play third for me or left base over Carlson or Chipper Jones. He's a really, really good hitter. I like to use Gary Sheffield in this way. I'm going to talk about George Springer first, because usually I bring in George Springer off the bench first to pinch hit, because Gary can hit from both sides. So let's say a situation like this happens in the game. I pinch it with George Springer versus a lefty. Then he's got a righty. I've got to use both Reggie and David Ortiz versus 2 righties. I'd rather be stuck with Gary Sheffield at the end of the game, because I can pinch hit him versus a right-handed pitcher or a left-handed pitcher. So that's why I usually use Gary in that situation. Just an A+ hitter. Has 68 fielding, which isn't great, but he's not the worst fielder in the world, but he's not the best. He's decent in right field. He's decent at third base. He's not that great in left field for some reason. I think I don't know what it is. Like, it's starting getting down to like 63 fielding and left. It's not that great. He does have 74 speed, and he does have a cannon. I just feel like his best role is on the bench, but he's a really good hitter. It's very, very tough for me to have him on my bench, but he really helps us out in that perspective. I wish he had like some better fielding. I would never take him out, but I think you can get past. It's too bad he can't play first base too, because he would be an amazing first baseman in this game. But it is what it is. I have him on my bench. And George Springer, the reason I have him on my bench is because he's got a great swing, but to me he has kind of a slower swing, especially when he plays on Legend. His fielding, when you put him in left, it's not that great either. The silver fielding with the 77 speed, it's just not diamond level fielding. So whenever I bring him in off the bench to just hit versus lefties, he just absolutely rakes. Like, it's pretty much, I know that's what I like about him. That's how he's filling the role for our team. One quote I like to bring up is a quote that Ned Yost used to have, that just do one thing in the game per day for us to win, and you've done your job. And George, what he does for me is he comes in versus a left-handed pitcher when we need that spark, and he gets a hit. He either gets a home run, he gets a double, he smashes the ball, and he's doing his job. This is the first card I picked. I don't have the J-Ram yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the J-Ram when I get him. Maybe I move him on the bench into one of these spots. You don't necessarily have to have the pinch runner either. Ideally, we could go with Reggie Jackson. Most of our guys are pretty fast also, to the point where we wouldn't do that. But maybe when I get J-Ram, he'll probably take Ricky Henderson's spot. I could even take Ricky Henderson out and put in like Jim Thome, or I could put in this Prestige Barry Larkin. I'm not too really set in stone on that spot. So these are some cards I think you should go after. It's debatable who's the best. I think someone asked on stream who the best center fielder is. If it's not Mantle, maybe it's Eric Davis, maybe it's Mike Trout. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. But this is how I build out your team. There are a couple cards I don't have that I want to go talk about that you could use also if you don't want to use like Posey, or you don't want to use Biggio. And so let's go and let's talk about some of those cards as well. I feel like we've covered first base pretty well. In left field, you could go all the way to picking up this King Griffey. He's not bad to have in left field. Even though he has more contact versus left, I don't like that as much, the left on left. But Griffey has a great swing, and he has the gold fielding, decent enough arm, decent enough speed. I think you could make a case that he could play over Dylan in left field, but Dylan just kind of has a little bit bigger of a PCI, and then he has the diamond fielding and the switch hitting. I like this card when I use them. He can have really big games. Like, he can have like 2 to 3 home run games, or 2 home runs and a double. Like, he can definitely hit. He's actually a pretty good card. He's very expensive to get, but I actually like this card quite a bit. I haven't really used this card too much because of the fielding. Giancarlo. Trout is still really, really good. I mean, you can play Trout in left. I'd play him like in center, or I'd play him in left. He still holds it down. He just doesn't have, like, as the game's evolved, his vision's pretty low. His contact's a little bit lower. He's still really good, though. Has a really good swing. Let me think about anybody else. Bellinger. I mean, if you got to use him, he's very solid still. Brings defense, brings speed. With the PCI was a little bit bigger. Has a great swing. Definitely a really good card. Definitely worth it to go after. No money spent, no matter what. Like, you need to pick him up. Jackie, I really don't use Jackie too much, even though he seems like he'd be pretty good. I just haven't used him that much. Again, he's free. Pick him up if you need him. Got a pretty quick swing. Doesn't have a ton of power, but maybe he could pretty much do what Craig Biggio does. I mean, they're relatively similar in that regard, so he could definitely hold down. He can play a variety of positions for you too. I mean, he'd be a pretty fast left fielder right now. Talk about George Brett. Really, really good hitter. Kind of a sneaky good hitter at first base. If you're having trouble putting PCI in the ball. You know, he's pretty fast too. It feels like he plays with more power. And again, I don't even have the Prestige version. The Prestige version would be even better to go after. I know. I'm thinking as I'm recording this, I'm gonna forget someone, so I apologize if I do. I do like this Robinson Cano at second base. He's got the gold fielding. He's got incredible power. He's got a pretty good swing. The only thing I don't like about him is the gold fielding, while it's good, isn't great. And the speed, it also takes your team's speed down because he only got 51 speed. So it kind of takes the team speed down a little bit, but this is a really, really solid card. It went down a little bit because of I think the pack was in like maybe Conquest or something like that. So he's probably, let's see what he is. We can actually look right here. That's a good price to pick him up at. Gosh darn it, I'm looking at this right now frustrated because I actually thought this card was so good. This card was down at 43K. I thought this card was so good that I picked up 4 of them. I bought 4 of them, 4 extra ones. Like after I did the collection, and I was thinking to myself, like, I bet they're gonna go up. And then I got cold feet on that, and I decided to sell them back. Like I bought them for 43, I sold them back for 43 because I was like, man, what if it doesn't? You know, I just got nervous. But yeah, he definitely went up to 56K or 57K. I feel like he's more worth like 100. He's that good of a player, so you can get a really good player for only 57. If you want to get Cano at second base, and he'll still be fluid. You don't necessarily have to lock him in for Griffey. I like this Cal card a lot too. For some reason, I was hitting really, really well with this card when I was using him. 97, 113, 105, 120 is just a ton of power for a shortstop. It's an extreme amount of power for a shortstop. The 84 vision is great. The fielding is not that great though. It's only an 81-73. He might even be better at like third base because he's got like a cannon. Let's see what he's going for. He might be pretty expensive. Yeah, he's actually really expensive. But he's a good card. I would recommend making a balanced shortstop, but there's some other shortstops potentially that you could use. But I like Cal a lot. I'm gonna show you the other 2 guys that you might want to go after as well. And we'll talk about the pitching staff too. So we'll get back to the pitching staff here in a second. But let's talk about some of these other players that I want to talk about in regards to, let's see. One of them, I believe, is the second baseman. This card right here, this Zobrist card, is extremely legit. He's really super expensive though, at 200, 160. He's really expensive. You look at the 83, 106, 82, 80, and 83, and you might be like, that's not that great. And I would understand you from that perspective. But this is just like one of the better cards in the game because he's got one of the best swings in the game, and he has the switch hitting ability, and his defense. Like if you play him at shortstop, you know, he's legit. You can play him at second base, he's legit. Just has like a really good swing. I'm trying to remember my stats I had 10 plate appearances with him online when I played ranked seasons, but I hit 625 with him. I never struck out. I walked twice. My on base percentage was 700. I had 1 home run, but like he's just he's a machine, man. He's got a really, really good swing. He's a really, really good card. I think I just sold him because he was just really expensive, and back at the time I needed to get the stubs, but he's like solid. You could definitely play him at shortstop if you wanted to move your shortstop cap to shorts, or your shortstop cap to catcher, and then move Zobrist there. The other one is Ernie Banks. Ernie's really, really solid too. 95, 125, 114, 102, 101 vision. Has 84, 84, 53 speed. Very, very solid shortstop if you want to move your cap out of the shortstop position. I don't know how this card would be. He might not be too bad of a shortstop either, to be honest with you. And yeah, but I'd rather have my cap over that. Then let's talk about let me think if there's any other positions or any other. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. I mean, maybe one person that comes to mind is Killebrew. Probably pretty solid. You know, because you're going to stick him at one of the corners where his defense doesn't matter too much. He's got low speed, but he's got a lot of pop at 121, 125. Is there anybody? Oh, I'll tell you guys. this might. Well, let's talk about Pablo Sandoval. Also, kind of maybe thought about playing him for Posey, but like I don't know. At the same time, he's gonna have like I would imagine he's got pretty low blocking. He might be decent to have like in that like fifth bench spot, and then I could platoon him with Posey, but I don't know. I'll probably just like I don't really feel like picking him up for like 60K right now. Chipper is going up a little bit in price. He's up to 45. Chris Bryant would be a good card to utilize too. Good fielding, good speed, good power versus left, good swing would be a good card. Schmitty, he's not too bad. I just don't like his swing that much. I mean, he brings the defense, but there's still plays down the line that he doesn't get to. Like when I labbed his card, it's like, yeah, his fielding's good, but it doesn't really matter that significantly. Where it's like, he doesn't get, if he got to like every single ball at third base, I'd be like all in on this. But the fact that he doesn't, I'm not. His swing was kind of inconsistent. It's just like this closed stance that like it feels a little bit long. It just feels a little bit awkward. It's nothing like Chipper Jones's swing or Dylan Carson's swing or Zober's swing where it's like super smooth and they're a switch hitter. Just give him a shot. You know, see if you like him. But I don't know. He's okay. I haven't used Eddie Matthews either. Probably would not be too bad. Eddie's got a good swing. I haven't really thought about using him too much. Talk about a card that would be incredible to platoon with Jones, but Jones really doesn't need, you don't need to spend like 100. You're going to spend 163K on a card. I don't think you want to be necessarily platooning him, but he wouldn't be too bad. Who else do I want to talk about? I'm just going to go through some of the positions. I actually think this card might be pretty good. His swing reminds me of Babe Ruth. I kind of am tempted to try him out in left field a little bit. I probably, we got Ricky Henderson on the bench. I really should probably have this card on the bench because he could actually he definitely could hit better than Ricky could. He could, his fielding isn't that good, but he has 99 speed with 84 reaction. So I feel like that's most of the thing with fielding in the outfield is you want to have that speed and reaction. Like it's gonna help you out. It doesn't really have an arm, but I like his swing, and that 99 speed is dangerous. He's a scary card to pitch to because you always feel like he's gonna have some extra pop over the 71 and 79. Like the prestige version of this card would be pretty legit. I would feel like he's gonna have a good, like, I don't know. This is low key to me a good card. The only problem is when you're down 2 and it's the late innings, like the 8th or the 9th, and he comes up and he just can't get you that home run if you square it up necessarily. Like I wouldn't count on him just like automatically getting a bomb if you square it up with only 71 and 79 type of deal. He doesn't have like 115 power or 124 power or some of the crazy power that we've seen in some of these other cards. But I do think it's a pretty good card. So I wanted to talk about him. Let's see, center field. I'd be interested to try this card out. So we just talked about Lou Brock. Like that's some power once it went away. I think his swing looked pretty good when I faced him, but I've never really used him. He kind of reminds me of like a Mike Trout card of old because he has like 86 fielding to 83 arm, 90 speed, good power, a little bit lower contact, still 75 vision. He looks like he might be a good card that could compete with Dylan Carlson if he has. I haven't used his swing that much. Let me know if you have this card. But you guys, let me know if you have this card and it's like a card that you're like just excited when he comes up to the plate and you don't want to take him out of your lineup. We got Andre Dawson. I think he'd be a really good center fielder to have if you don't have Mantle, just because he's pretty well balanced across the board with like 102, 108, 84, 96. 93, 97. Like he's gonna be solid on defense, got some pop, got some contact, like just seems like pretty solid across the board. Not anywhere near Mantle, but that's asking a lot. I feel like that's a solid card. Eric Davis got kind of that Funkatron type of swing. Either you're gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. But he can go up to that, he's gonna have some good power versus left. The 65 vision scares me a little bit, but I love the fielding and I love the speed. Any big Eric Davis fans out there, let me know. Yeah, I feel like Ellsbury, good swing. I'd want him prestige if I was going to use him. I'm a little worried when he faces lefties. Kemp, not bad either. I feel like he's more of like a corner outfielder in this game. McCutcheon, I'm sure, is okay as well. Let's go ahead and see any other positions. I actually kind of like Tony Gwynn. Just the problem is he does like that situation I'm talking about. It's the 8th or the 9th inning. And I've been in it many times with these contact guys. Like we need like 1 or 2 runs. There's 1 out, and it's the 9th inning, and up comes like Tony Gwynn, and we can't get that like 1 home run. We gotta hope for a base hit and hope somebody else does the damage. So that's kind of what I don't like about him, but I do like everything else about him. I like his swing. I like his fielding. I like his speed. Like he's someone you don't have to worry about in the field. Vlad, after I made the World Series, I used this card a little bit. I wish this card had, I'm not even concerned as much about the power versus right. I just wish this card had better fielding. He's got the cannon and right, but, you can move Larry Walker to left. He's got a pretty good swing. I just wish this card had like 85 fielding and like 84 speed, and then I would use this card like 100%. The 120, the 125, the power versus left is high, but I already have Springer. I already have Gary Sheffield. That's all like, I got Springer for free, and Sheffield is prestiged, and I got it from the collection, so there's no need for me to go and spend 163K on this card. It just doesn't make a lot of fiscal sense to do so. I always kind of like Dwight Evans' swing. If you guys like Bo Bichette's swing in this game, Dwight Evans got pretty much the same swing. Doesn't really have that speed that I'm looking for though in the outfield. Remember I was saying I like 75 plus speed in the outfield. Just really helps me defensively. But I always kind of like this card a little bit. That's pretty much what I got for position players. I think we went through everyone. Let's go ahead and talk about starting pitchers now and relief pitching. As far as my relief pitching goes, as far as my starting pitching goes, still love Corey Kluber. I mean, I don't know if I have to say too much about Corey Kluber other than he's like still my favorite guy to use. Like when he's got energy, I'm excited for him to pitch. That's kind of one of the things you should look for in your cards. Like, are you excited to use them? Like when the pitcher has full energy, are you just like, you can't wait to bring them in? Or the hitter, like when the hitter comes up, are you excited to hit with them? That's kind of when you know it's time to replace someone or you want to keep someone. Oral Hershiser, I cannot wait to get this card prestige. Throws mad dots. Make sure you guys check out my pitching tips video. You can just throw mad dots with this card. Sinker, cutter, curveball, changeup, slider. He's the perfect pitcher for me. I love using him. I love his motion. My pitching tips video too, I'll give you like some keys to use them. I have picked Oral Hershiser over Kluber when they have both had full energy. That's how much I like Hershiser. I really like Al Leiter as well. The sinker, the cutter, the curveball, the slider. The slider I can use as a changeup. I might show that to you guys in a video in the future. But I really I can use this slider as a changeup. I have a certain spot that I spotted that makes people swing and miss. So not having the changeup's not too big of a deal because I can utilize it like that. I kind of mix in the fastball to the pitcher when the pitcher's up so that my opponent thinks I'm going to throw 4-seam fastballs, but I don't. And sometimes I'll like start off the at-bat with the curveball just to kind of like break up the monotony of the pitches. You could really just throw his sinker like over and over and over again if you need to. But just mixing up all his pitches he's really, really good. I like Al Leiter a lot. Can't wait to get him prestige. I'll be locking in both of these cards. Kerry Wood is getting a big time reputation on the comp scene. He's supposed to be one of the hardest pitchers to hit on Legend. The per nines are what's going to really help with that, with the 102, 122, which is just sky high for a starting pitcher. Look for his leg kick to use his timing. His leg kick when he kind of like gets his his front leg up into a right angle. Like that's a good leg kick for him. But he can still be prestigious, which is insane. Throws gas and has an excellent pitch mix. This is like for not having a sinker, he's got a gas fastball, which is if you don't have a sinker, you need a gas fastball like that over 100 fastball. It has the slurve, which is a great pitch, a 12-6, which is the best type of curveball. He has a changeup and he has that cutter, and he kind of throws everything effectively, and he doesn't really have that bad of control, especially on his fastball. His fastball's got pretty good control. So He's a really good pitcher. I think he's going up in the most price. I still like using the sinkers and the cutters. That's kind of like more my style. But I don't mind having Wood on this team at all. I think he's actually pitching pretty well for me. 2.4 ERA and 15 innings is pretty damn good. Only 16 strikeouts to 5 walks. He's been solid. Definitely going to want to pick him up. Now I'm going to explain to you why I have Hal Newhouser in this spot in a second. We have all of our bullpen guys here, and so we have a righty, a lefty, a righty, a lefty, a lefty, a righty, a righty. So if we were to do it more like this, it would be a righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty. So we have 3 lefties on our bullpen, and we have 4 righties. So the job that Hal Newhouser does for me is he is our 4th left-handed reliever. I don't start Hal Newhouser, but he does throw gas, and he's got a decent pitch mix. I pitch pretty well with him. I've got his motion down pretty well. I'm not asking him to carry us for 5 innings. I'm asking him. There's 2 pitchers I really like to use when there's runners on base, just as like in that fireman role, and that's Rob Dibble. I like him out of the stretch more than that long windup. I like how Newhouser's stretch also. It's just very short to the line and then back up to the hoop. He can throw gas, so like he can come in and throw. If I need him to come in and face a lefty or a couple of lefties, I can bring him in and just throw the gas inside. I can throw the slider away. He's got a change up. He's got what I need him to do. He's got decent enough per 9s. He can also, if we go down early in a game and we're getting our rear end kicked, he can just carry us. He has 124 stamina, so he's always gonna have stamina, and he can just pitch out the rest of the game and save our bullpen and save our other starters and all that kind of stuff. So I like using him. If there was another left-handed pitcher that threw like absolute gas, like if there was like a Drew Pearson that like had an outlier, but he was a lefty, I would probably use him over Hal. But the other thing is Hal is free. I don't have to pay anything for him. I don't have to shell out like 100,000 stubs. I can keep that in my inventory to flip. So that's why I use Hal in that spot. Rolly's still really, really good. Sinker, slider, forkball, great control. It's just he's solid. I like Jake McGee a lot, and you might ask which is better, Jake McGee or Zach Britton. I like McGee because he's got pretty good control. I usually just paint, if it was a righty, I paint the outside part of the plate, and then if it's a lefty, I paint the inside part of the plate. I just kind of stick to over there and throw fastballs over there, and then I use like the slider and the curveball a little bit. He throws some pretty good gas. He's got some pretty good control, and Britton, they changed Britton's motion a little bit. Otherwise, I might consider using Britton, but the 109, 115 is solid for me, and I like that he has like the off speed of the curveball. I do like that. So I like Jake McGee over Britton personally. Edwin Diaz, I love this card. I actually really, really like this card. I love free cards that are good. That is the number one thing that I like more than anything. And he's got a 4-seam, a slider, and a changeup. He's got a really solid motion. He throws good enough gas. He gets up 88 and 89. He's got a slider and a changeup, and he's just got amazing per 9s at 119, 124. Solid card. It's highly. I like him a lot more than Paxton. Even I would be happy with this one over Paxton. I don't mind. I don't mind the James Paxton. I don't mind really going up against him or what have you. But I personally just don't like to pitch with this card very much, and I actually like the Diaz out of that set more. Billy Wagner, and great per 9s at 117, 125. 4-seam slider and the curveball. Him and Jake McGee are pretty much like the same type of pitcher. Like they're just a lefty that throws gas. There aren't a lot of. I don't really like John Franco. I'm not a fan of the screwball or anything like that. He's got that short, compact stretch motion that I love pitching out of the stretch in Diamond Dynasty. So I really like Billy Wagner and get him from the AL West collection. Rob Dibble can be argued that he is the best relief pitcher in the game. He's very difficult to hit on Legend because you're going to be late on the fastball and then you're going to be early on the slider and the cutter. Very difficult to face. He's got a longer windup, but that can be deceptive to the hitter. Sometimes I feel like it's a little bit slippery from that, but it's not too bad. And then out of the stretches, somebody gets on. it's going to be tough. He's the guy that you bring in when there's, maybe you have like a 1 or 2 run. To me, this is what I like to use him for is, maybe I have a 1 or 2 run lead in the 7th or the 8th. And then, a couple people get on. We only got 1 down. That's when I like to bring in Rob Dibble. I like to bring him in for that situation because I know for the most part, he's usually going to get us out of it. And we'll protect that 1 or 2 run lead and we'll use somebody else in the 9th. But I like him for those high leverage situations when it's like, all right, here it is. Here's some extreme gas. I can mix in the slider and the cutter. Like, let's see you hit it. You know what I mean? That's why I like having Rob Dibble in the pin. He's shot up in price recently. He went down to as low as 70K. He's back up to 138K. I think I picked him up around 70. These bullpen guys, the good bullpen guys, really go up in price. So pick them up while they're cheap. And I think this is another prime example of who you need to pick up now. 143 or 153, 900, 145. The reason I say that about picking up Chapman right now is because there's only so many good bullpen guys that get released into this game. And pretty much always think about your bullpen like this. Like, will they make the top 7? And there's no way. By in-game, will they make the top 7? There's no way on earth that this Aroldis Chapman, one of the best relief pitchers we've ever had just by the numbers, will not be in that top 7. And so he might be 150 now, but you don't have to lock him into anything that you don't want to. And I swear, man, he'll be like 200 easily again. He'll probably be like 250. Like, he probably will go up like 100,000. Like, there's just no, by the end of the game, when we got just tons and tons of stubs, we get through this next collection. And, we're playing in November and December. Like, this card's going to be extremely expensive to get. It is going to be. To me, he is probably my favorite relief pitcher in the game. It's like him or Rivera. I like them a little bit more than Dibble just personally. Because I like his four seam, the sinker, the slider, the changeup. I like that. I like 125 on the per 9s. Control isn't that great, but he is such a dominant left-handed pitcher for a reliever. This is like I just hope we get this card in future games. He's that good. He's a beast. So I highly recommend picking up Aroldis Chapman at whatever price. I think this is a cheap price. This is an extremely cheap price to me at 145, 153, just because of how that Ducks Elite pack got put into the market, from collecting all the players of the month. And I believe the Ducks Elite might be in the events rewards off the top of my head. So pick them up now. You won't lose stubs. I would not imagine that you're going to lose stubs. And take it from somebody who chickened out on Robinson Cano, which I never should have done, because now if I could have just held on to him for a little while, we would have made a lot of stubs if I just held on to him. I already know I should do the same thing with Aroldis Chapman right now. Like, I just know how the card plays, how I see people in the competitive field using him. Chapman's cheap right now. This card went up like 13,000, so I could have made, I don't know, a decent amount off of these. Like, let's just say I got them at 40 and we sold them for 56. It would have been a good profit. So that ship has sailed, but make sure you pick up Chapman now. Don't let something like Dibble happen where he's 70K and then the next day he's 137. Okay, like go get him now. Now Mo Rivera, he's been great for me as well. Got to be careful with just throwing tons of cutters off the rip. Your opponent's going to be looking for that cutter. Everybody in the world knows that the cutter is what Rivera has. So you got to mix in the other pitches. But what's nice is his other pitches are nice. I like the sinker. I like the slider. I love the changeup. I love the changeup because it's the end of the game. People are gearing up to try to hit that home run. And they are going to swing at that changeup below the zone, like over the plate, but below the zone. They're going to swing at that a lot of the time. Got the cutter and the sinker. Don't sleep on the fastball either, because the fastball can get up to like 98. I don't even have him prestiged yet. So he's going to have that cutter and four seam that are extremely, extremely effective. He's got the sinker. And then that changeup and the slider that are just way slower than the other pitches. I really like Mo a lot in this game, so I'm a big fan of him. Let's go take a look at some of the starting pitchers that we got here. Not too big on Marshall, just not big on. I just don't like screwballs. I don't really need that. I'm not huge on this card. I never really have been. I love his game IRL, but I don't like him in Diamond Dynasty. Mike Scott, we're not even gonna waste time. No. Casey Mize, this is a popular card. To me, I've faced him a couple times. I don't really feel like there's anything special about him personally when I face him. I mean, he's got a good pitch set, the cutter, the splitter, the slurve, the sinker, but I just don't. I feel like this price just cannot be justified. Like, there's no need to pay $318,000. Maybe I would say $90,000. You know, like I feel like he's really overpriced because he's a battle royale reward, which happens a lot. But that's just my personal opinion. I don't have any need for him. I like the other 4 guys that I have. And again, like I have the 4 guys, they're always gonna have stamina. That 5th guy is basically like a bullpen guy. And I'm not going to pick up Casey Mize over the other guys for this kind of price. Like, I'm not going to do that. John Smoltz, haven't used him, but the thing about John Smoltz is there's just nothing special about him. Decent per 9s, decent motion. I'm sure he has fine control, but we need that forcing to be like 102. I just don't feel like he's not that expensive if you want to give him a shot, but he just doesn't have that out pitch that you're going to need. Catfish Hunter might not be the worst, but he's kind of in that same boat as Smoltz, and he doesn't throw hard. Jim Palmer's got kind of a funky motion. I actually don't mind his motion too much, but again, he just really doesn't throw hard. You know, a 4-seam, a 12-6, a slider, a 2-seam, and a changeup. It's just not out there, and his price reflects that. Oral's great. Oral Hershiser is great. Brendan McKay, he does have good hitting stats, but it's just not really that necessary for him to have that great hitting stats. Like, it might be like one at bat. It's kind of like more of a novelty than anything else. The 4-seam, the curveball, the cutter, and the changeup. I don't know. It's a basic kind of pitch set. Not a lot of stamina either. That 99 stamina is probably going to be a year and I want to take him out after like 3 or 4 innings type of deal. I'm just not very high on this card myself. At least it's down in price. When I got this pack out of headliners, I sold him for $80K because I knew he was going to go down. And yeah, I'm not a big fan of him. Dustin May, I mean, he's a good pitcher. He has the sinker, the cutter, the curveball, the 4-seam, and the changeup. I would still take the other guys over him. He's got a longer motion. He's not bad or anything. He just got a little bit less stamina. I don't know. I just like the other pitchers more than him. You know, like the lighter, the Hershiser, and the Wood, and then you're gonna have. I imagine a lot of you guys at this point, not everybody, and that's fine, but I imagine a lot of you guys have Kluber and Newhouser as well. And Sixto, kind of in that Nick Lodolo range, just doesn't have the pitches. Like, he only has a sinker, a changeup, and a slider. That's kind of like not good enough anymore. You gotta have a little bit something extra. I think, you know, Cole Hamels still a solid pitcher to have. Definitely avoid this card and do not pick up this card. That's an exorbitant price because he's rare. I think we're pretty good in the pitcher department. I think I really would go after the same starting pitchers that I had, and if you want to find a different spot for Hal because you don't like him or what have you, but you know, that's fine. That's just who I personally like to use, and I use him more of as like a bullpen guy. Relief pitchers, Betances probably okay. Probably it's just like the 4-seam, the slurve, the 2-seam. It's not a lot of pitch set. I'd rather have like Edwin Diaz for free. But he does throw some gas. I bet he could get the job done. Probably not a bad budget lefty either in Alvarado, just because he has got outlier. I think he has outlier. Yeah, he's got outlier on that 2-seam fastball. Be good versus lefties. There's no other real relief pitcher that we need to talk about. Henke, faced him a couple times. He doesn't scare me that much. I'm kind of in between on this card. I just think that forkball is way too fast. If that forkball was like in the 80s, it'd be a little bit better. I'm not too scared when I see this card come into the game. Let me know what you guys think about this card. If you like using that card. McGee, it looks like he's going up a little bit in price. He was usually, you know, you could have got this card as low as like $40K. Britton's still up there. I really don't see a lot of people use him on the comp scene. I'm just being honest with you. It's because he doesn't have the off speed, and that's the problem. And his motion just isn't as glitchy as it used to be. It used to be really tough to pick up off him. Rodney's okay. Rodney's okay. He can be pretty wild though. Rob Nin, I just don't feel it with Rob Nin, man. It's too. I just feel like I always sit on this fastball versus him for whatever reason, and he just gets like hit hard. Gagne, I'm not too high on Gagne really either. I'd rather have like a much better version. When we get like a 99 Gagne, he'll be a lot better. Smoltz, way overpriced. Just completely avoid this. Avoid that with every ounce of your energy. Andrew Miller, I used a lot at the beginning of the year. He's probably not too bad. He's like not too bad, but he's not too good. I used to use like the 99 version of Miller is so much better because he has control. So I would avoid him at that price. Wait till he gets cheaper if he ever does. This Gossage is not too bad with the four seam, the sinker, and the slurve. He's just not too bad. He just throws gas, and he's got a decent pitch mix. Can be good for like an inning, which is really all you need out of your relief pitchers. I don't really like John Franco. I would avoid him. And Trevor Hoffman wouldn't be too bad, but he's really, really expensive. Like that. His circle changeup can be really good late in games because it's hard to like square up for home runs. You just don't really get the exit velocity that you need off of it. But there you go, guys. There's pretty much a review of my team. This video ended up getting a lot longer than I expected it to be. I did not expect it to go this long, but it did. If you stuck around for the whole thing, I appreciate you, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video tomorrow. I think we got headliners packs to open up, and we got some new BR rewards. So we'll be covering that all on the channel. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. All right.